Gab, I imagine everyone in Italy is taking this very calmly.
Yes, with Zen-like calm, Dan. I think there's a couple things to say here. I mean, obviously, the goal should have never been chalked off in the first place, because even if he was offside, he probably was not interfering with an opponent. But that said, what has emerged since is that shot that you showed, that's taken from a different camera, which is not part of the VAR setup. And this is kind of the origin of the confusion. That camera basically records the game. It's a tactical camera. The pictures later go to the clubs, who can then use it for tactical purposes. It doesn't actually feed into anything live. The data is recorded on a hard drive. So we presume what happened here was, in fact, we pretty much know that what happened was Juventus, obviously furious, knowing that Candreva was there, suspecting he was there. They went back, they looked at the pictures from this camera, and they said, aha, look, here's Candreva. And then somebody, might have been Juve, might have been Salernitana, I'd suspect probably the latter, then started circulating these pictures saying, look, you know, how could this be? The Italian Referees Association saying, we're sorry, we work with a certain number of cameras for VAR, and we simply aren't connected to this other camera.
Like, looking at it just from outside in, Gab, surely there should be just a fixed camera that shows that wide shot just in general, if you're looking at VAR for these exact reasons.
Yeah, and this is another element, and this is something that the Referees Association were kind of cagey on. They obviously do have other cameras. You do not have to have a camera perfectly lined up. So they have a camera at the 18-yard box, and they have a camera in midfield. And normally what would happen is, and I'm sorry if I use some technical language here, Dan, but it is television.
Okay, I'm ready.
What would happen is one of those cameras would sort of zoom in for a close-up to what happens in the area, and the other camera would stay with a wide shot. In other words, with a shot where you can see pretty much everything, including Candreva. And I should say these cameras are also calibrated with the 3D software for VAR, so they're pretty accurate at determining who's where and what. The problem is, it seems on this occasion, both cameramen decided to zoom in, and so all of a sudden, Candreva, who of course was close to the touchline because he was defending the corner, he basically disappeared for the shot, and so they had no idea where this guy was.
So a lot of it comes down to it's the technology, but it's also the personnel, and notwithstanding the fact that it seems to be blameless on the officials, because they dealt with they played the cards that they were dealt.
Sure.
That was as far as we're aware. To piggyback off Gab's technical point,
Can we zoom and wide shot? We're okay with that?
As you know, I spent many a year on the gantry in the UK.
Here we go.
No, but there's 3 or 4 cameras on a gantry normally. Now, you get the camera 1, blah, 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 pans. Camera 2 and 4 will go for close-ups generally. But I don't understand, because you don't just have cameras in the main stand side of a game, right? You just don't. You have an 18-yarder, which I think was the initial shot, but it looked tight. But you have reverse cameras. You have cameras behind both goals, and you have reverse cameras on the other side. So what the hell were they doing? So, I mean, if they're telling you they didn't have the angle to give to the officials, it's I don't know who the host broadcaster was, but it's a host broadcaster problem. Because the host broadcaster, for any particular match, should be feeding those angles and making sure those angles are there, unless a camera guy is away looking for somebody in the crowd when there's a corner been taken in. So there should be somebody, Gab, getting those pictures and shots available.
There should be, and the only thing I would say here, though, is that when they calculate offside, obviously most of the times it's extremely close. In this situation, it obviously wasn't. The cameras have to be calibrated to the software and work in concert with the software to establish kind of the exact 3D positioning. And that's why, you know, a lot of those other cameras that you mentioned, the reverse camera, the camera behind the goal, they're not going to be calibrated to this. They use those for other things to notice fouls between players and whatnot. One point I think is worth addressing here is there was an assistant referee on the field, and you can see in some of the pictures, he is perfectly lined up to see what's going on. And he can clearly see that Bonucci is offside. that Bonucci is not offside. However, and it's important kind of to know what happened here, because in the olden days it would have been his job. The thing is, he doesn't raise his flag because Bonucci's onside. Remember, the referee gives the goal. He gives Milik's goal. Then at that point, Milik celebrates. There's a bit of a brawl and a melee between the player, and then VAR intervenes. At this stage, VAR doesn't go and ask the linesman, "Hey, linesman Bob, what did you see?" The VAR only speaks to the referee, who is clearly stressed out because he spent this time sort of separating the players and whatever. Apparently, there's no communication, but I think there should have been. There should be a mechanism for it between the linesman and the referee. So the linesman, never had the opportunity to say, "Hey, what are you guys checking? You guys checking offside?" Because I can tell you, I was perfectly lined up. Bonucci was clearly onside. It never gets to that point. And I think that is something that they need to answer as well, because, there are those things we call humans out there. And back in the olden days, humans were kind of flesh and blood VARs.
Oh, I thought it was just the Premier League.
Okay.
And by the way, next time there's an Italian game on live, I'll take never mind the cameras, I'll just take my phone and I'll film the game for the referees, just in case.
Mario, what a mess, Mario.
Oh my God. Oh my God, man. Listen, look. If I go back to my time, and Greg, you can definitely relate to this one. I am happy I didn't play in VR time, because this is too complicated. Imagine explaining to someone offside. That's already a problem. Now this whole ticky-tacky, all this nonsense comes on, like the things that Gab explains to us. It's obviously, people always say to us, like, "Hey, footballers, you only have to focus on playing the game, and this is your focus." But now, a linesman and a referee only has to focus on making sure that the rules are going accordingly. Now they get help, because people can say VR this and that, but VR is actually helping the referee. So then you help the referee, and then he clearly cannot make a clear decision, because he didn't see it. Okay, maybe his view, he could be, we can say about that. But still, come on, as a linesman, hey, come on. Are you standing there to lift up the flag? Okay, if you don't lift up the flag, then talk to your ref. Say something to him.
This goes back to your point that I believe he's not on, is he, Mark Clattenburg?
No, there wasn't even any point. What's he going to say?
We're talking about a referee.
What's he going to say?
Listen, I told you.
Every Monday I switch this show on, 6 o'clock, Clattenburg's on here.
Yeah. But they're tight calls.
From home. First Monday I'm on in ages, Clattenburg's nowhere to be seen. No. What the hell's going on?
But Greg, Clattenburg, you couldn't talk to him normally. Now you can talk to him. But when he was on the field, oh my God.
Mario hates Clattenburg.
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure you can talk to Klats at the moment either. It makes much sense. But one thing he did say that did make some sense was, and I think it was him, definitely wasn't Peter Walton, he's not been spotted for so long, was VAR in some sense is making the officials and maybe the assistant referees on the sideline, what we would have called the linesman or lineswoman, lazy.
Yeah.
Not working with instinct, just second guessing everything, because as Gab said, there was an assistant there looking at that. Okay, they didn't flag, but I'm convoluting this because the VAR then went and overruled when the referee had already given it. I understand all that.
You convoluted it again.
No, but there is a sense that with VAR, as a generalisation, maybe not just on this point, that referees and officials are getting a little bit lazy and relying on it.
Quickly, Gab.
No, I just want to say, in this specific case, if you watched the ending of the game, there was a brawl. There was Fazio being sent off, Quadrado being sent off, Max Allegri being sent off, Milik getting sent off for taking his shirt off to celebrate, not realizing it was written on yellow. The match official spent so much time trying to keep the players separate from each other, and it was kind of in this chaos. I think it would have been a big ask for him to intervene, because I genuinely don't think he had any idea what was going on or why the goal was disallowed.
So what I don't understand here.
Okay. Right.
This is the biggest call. This is the biggest screw up.
Yes.
For VAR. Where's Clattenburg?
What? Well, what's he going to come on and say?
Oh, wait, all I'm saying is
what's
this is
getting him on. I don't hear him say anything. It's not worth it.
This is the biggest.
If you want more on this decision, be sure to check out the latest edition of Marcotti's Musings. Gabby goes into more detail about everything and the ramifications of that draw for Juventus. Be sure to check it out. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.